Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
All right, we're Life as You Own It. I'm Mark McDougall, and
He's Craig Miller.
That's
usually.
right. It's
Sometimes.
it's a fantastic weekend somewhere. You know, it's a fantastic weekend wherever you are. If it's the weekend, as long as you don't work on weekends, right? Rose has given me an amen. Mm-hmm. Hey, well, if you're checking us out for the first time, welcome aboard. We hope that you enjoy the next hour as much as we do. Right?
I hope we enjoyed as much as we usually do.
Yeah, well, we hope the listeners enjoyed as much as they do. We are the Roof Over Your Head show. If it has to do with owning a home, renting a home, walking into a home, looking at a home, thinking about a home, we will probably discuss it.
Walking in one.
I said
smelling
that.
one.
Smelling a home.
Whatever.
We don't want to smell your home. But yes, folks, whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you are a landlord with multiple properties, whether you are renting your first apartment, whether you're trying to find out how to get the best deal on your insurance, you name it. We run the gamut. Everything that falls under the big roof, your big financial roof, and we like to have fun while we're doing it. We've got a big show for you today. But first, I want to just say, how are you doing this week, Craig? Did you have a good week?
It was an interesting week for me.
Good.
I'll say this before we get rolling. It is Father's Day weekend, and I want to wish you a happy Father's Day.
Happy
times
Father's
3.
Day to you times
6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got more kids than a little old lady who lived in a shoe.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do. But anyway, it is Father's Day weekend, so
Happy
to all
Father's
of you
Day.
fathers, it's the greatest job I've ever been blessed to have, and I am very thankful to be a multiple-time daddy.
That's right.
I know you are as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's the mothers that get all the love, and they deserve it, because we wouldn't be here without the mothers. But those fathers, those of you that are the dedicated, if you're a great husband and a great father, and are doing what's right for your kids, and you've made the commitment and do it, well, we just want to give you a big pat on the back this weekend.
Big old pat. Mark would pat you somewhere else if he had his druthers, but we'll just stick with the
pat
back.
you upside the head. All right, folks. So big show. Summer housing market. It is what, Craig? Is it hot? Is it sizzling?
It's pretty warm.
It's sizzling, folks. If you're trying to land your next crib, that would be home, Craig.
That's
That'd be
crib.
a house.
Yeah.
It's for the younger.
I call it a
like
crib.
myself.
Mine's
I call
a
it
crib.
Pay close attention to these 5 rules that will help you in this. Yes, it's a seller's market, folks. Also, if you're a seller in this market, you probably want top dollar, right? Which one of us don't want top dollar? You want top
I know
dollar?
someone for some reason doesn't, but yeah, top dollar usually.
Right. You want top dollar. Well, we've got 10 things you do not want. You don't want these things at your open house. And remember, this is the Roof Over Your Head show, so we're going to focus on those of you choosing to rent your home or your apartment for just a little bit during this show. We got some important information you want to hear, which are 6 tips for renting your first apartment. And as a bonus, Craig is going to share his 10 best pets for tiny apartments. Because we know how much we should send the selfie that you took of you and what's your little puppy that you carry in your purse, in your purse?
Just to go along with it, I don't actually.
Oh yeah, just to go along with it.
Was,
I've got a friend.
I'm trying to think. A Chihuahua. It's a Chihuahua.
Right. Okay, it's a sure.
I
It's
don't
a
have a
Chihuahua.
small dog, folks. Just that's all there is to it.
Did you diet for
Not
summer?
gonna
Craig?
have one either.
Did you diet for summer this summer? Did you diet? Try to shed a few pounds,
you know what?
see
Every
a
time I
little bit
think
of
I'm gonna get back on my program, I just keep getting knocked back a couple notches. But I'm hanging in there, all right.
Well, on this show, we think all of us should be on a financial diet, and that's why we're going to share with you 5 costs that you can cut for fast cash.
And expose your abs for beach day.
Yeah, there you go. And if building new, we've got the latest data from HUD and the Census Bureau on new home construction from 2013. How many bedrooms are really enough? You're going to find that out later. And what about air conditioning? How many what percentage of the homes have air conditioning? Well, I'm going to quiz Craig on some of these new home statistics from 2013, and there will be cash and prizes given to me for every one that he misses, which will be many, I'm certain. And who says the life as you own it, listeners?
Certainty. That's what I think you are.
Who says the life as you own listeners are all beauty and no brains? Maybe they just say that about the hosts. We share one listener's insightful views on the housing recovery. You're going to want to hear that. And first-time home buyer regrets, we've got a few. But we're going to revisit those on a previous show. We talked about those first-time home buyer regrets, compliments of Zillow this time. So you want to stay tuned. Lots of great information. And Craig, without further ado, let's jump into the interest rates, where they are, where they're headed. Ready?
Great. Folks, we are going to bring this to you every week as usual. We give you the national average. The national average is based upon this past week's numbers. $200,000 loan amount, 20% or more equity, excellent credit scores. You could have some variances in there. May or may not affect the exact quote you would get. Remember, these are a general guideline. We're giving the national average. You may be getting quoted a lower rate than this. You may be getting quoted a lower rate than this, than what these averages are, but you're paying a bunch of fees to get to that lower rate. Or maybe you're just getting a better deal than what the national average was. The main thing we want you to know is the math, and that is, what's my break-even period on this? I'm refinancing my home. I'm dropping my rate 3/4 of a point, but it's costing me $3,500. Am I going to save money and win? Because you're obviously not going to save $3,500 the day you close. You're going to save money each month with having that lower rate, and it's going to take us several months to catch up. Go to lifeasyouownit.com, check out the break-even formula link, figure out how to do your break-even formula to figure out how long it's going to take before you've actually pocketed any dough with that refinance transaction. Same thing applies to a purchase. If you can compare apples to apples and say, I'm looking at one rate at this amount of cost, and I'm looking at another rate quote that might be a little bit higher, but the costs are dramatically lower, take a look and see how many months that higher rate with less cost is the better deal, because it will be a better deal out of the gate. Zero cost loans do exist, where you will not pay closing costs and fees. The lender's absorbing all those costs. You need to look at those as an option. If you're working with a lender that doesn't offer it, get another opinion. You may be missing out on your greatest opportunity to save money. Here are the national averages, folks, from the previous week. 30-year fixed, 4.21. That's compared to 4.17 the week before. Rates did take a turn, slightly for the worse. They moved a little bit up over the past week. 15-year fixed, 3.26 versus 3.19. Again, saw a little bit of a negative move on the shorter term fixed rate mortgages. 5-year ARM, again, that's where the rate's fixed for 5 years. It's factored on a 30-year amortization, but it's only fixed for 5, can adjust up or down afterward. 3.44 versus 3.34. Again, almost an 1/8% movement. And FHA loans, 30-year fixed, 4.03 versus 3.91. So we saw some movement the other way. Right now, all the indicators that I'm looking at, you can carefully float for a while if you're a ways out from closing on a home that's maybe under construction, you're still in the mode of shopping, whatever. But if you've got a short-term transaction and you're looking at what's in front of you and it makes sense now, take advantage of it, because we just don't know. The market's been moving around way too much.
All right, Craig. That music, if you're hearing it for first-time listeners, it means it's time for your question, your should you stay or should you go scenario. You tell us your situation. We'll tell you whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a relationship, whether it is buying the new car. We're going to tell you whether you should do it or you should stand pat where you are. Okay, Anna in Rockville, Indiana called with the following. I am selling my house for $245,000 and I owe $140,000. It closes in 24 days and I still don't have a replacement house. My question is this: do I put down all of my equity on my next house or just the 20%? I want to be smart with my money the way you guys are always explaining. Hey, thanks, Anna. Nice.
Don't presume that that makes us smart just because we're telling you how to be smart. Okay, here's the answer. First of all, if it's stay or go, I'm going to give it to you this way. Stay meaning put the 20% down, go, put it all down. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way we call it. The bottom line is, my suggestion, Anna, is to look at your financial plan, look at your short and long-term goals, visit with your financial advisor. If you don't have a financial advisor, try to find someone who you trust to refer you to a good one. Make sure you're working with a certified mortgage planner, and look at what your options are. I don't know how much house you're buying, because you said you're buying another home, but you haven't found it yet. So you might be buying a $500,000 home, and it's going to take all your equity to put 20% down. Or you might be buying a smaller home, and you'll have a lot of cash left over. We would always suggest, if you've got a savvy financial plan that you're dedicated to and disciplined with, put the 20% down. Any additional funds should be put in some side funds where they can grow at a greater rate of return than the interest on the mortgage.
Hey, and Anna, stay tuned later on because you need to rent a place. You're not going to rush in and buy a place and close on it in the next 24 days, so you need to stay tuned later in the show. We're going to talk to you about how to get your best deal, how to find that rental, that apartment, life as you want it. Stay tuned.
All right, friends, we are back. Life as you own it. Before the break, we were talking about Anna's question, who she's going to be in a dilemma. 24 days to find a house, get closed on it. Mark, you made a great point.
Get a pod.
Get a pod, load your gear, get it stored somewhere, and find a place to rent month to month so you can take your time and locate the right home, for sure. And now, 5 real estate rules you shouldn't break. Don't break these, folks.
That's right. Let me remind our listeners, if you're checking us out for the first time, or if you're a regular listener, don't forget to get on the internet. No, you guys have the internet. You can go there. You can check out YouTube, not only the short clips with tips, the promos for the show, but also the entire show. And there's even some additional uncensored footage that you can walk. If you go to watch, you can walk. You can walk right over to the computer to watch it. If you go to YouTube, just plug in there Life as You Own It, and there will be a plethora of video content. Or just go to the website, lifeasyouownit.com. Remember, we want your feedback. You can tweet us a response. You can obviously follow us on Facebook, keep up with what's going on, and get those great tips. And remember, we've got an ever-growing list of affiliates, so if you're hearing us for the first time in your market, call up the radio station, say thanks, we love the show. If you're passing through a town or you're catching us on satellite and you'd like us on your local radio station, call and demand Life as You Own It. Remember, we want your feedback. Questions at lifeasyouownit.com. You got a scenario? You got a should you stay or should you go? You want feedback? You want help? We're your team. We're here for you. Anything that falls under your financial roof, we want to hear from you. So remember, questions or question at lifeasyouownit.com.
And it doesn't matter what state you live in, Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., you name it, folks. You can send us an email. If you're in the middle of a mortgage transaction, getting ready to start one, and you want to make sure you've made the most sound financial decision possible, that you're saving the most money, and setting that mortgage plan up right, send us an email. Don't skip this opportunity to get yourself in a way better position. We can consult you on the right way to structure that transaction. We can potentially even help you get it done if you want. Send an email directly to me.
There is one state we do not want you to live in. That's a state of confusion. So email us. Rose, you saw that. You're like, where's he going with
Here
this?
it comes.
Boom, there it was.
Wow.
All right, folks. So as Craig said, the summer housing market is still a sizzling. Let's talk about those 5 rules that you shouldn't break if you're going to put an offer on that house, because it is, whether we like it or not, it's a seller's market. Why? Because there is very little inventory. We've seen an increase of homes coming on the market because most people are going, wait a minute, my home value has gone up and I can actually sell and get a little money and maybe I'll buy a new house. So let's talk about them, Craig. Number 1, what is it?
Don't make an offer without a pre-approval. Don't go out there just making offers on houses when you haven't gone through the process.
Get your financial house in order. Get the pre-approval. And I would tell you, make sure that pre-approval is legit. You know what you can afford. You stay in that zone. It's from a reputable mortgage bank. And you got something in writing. So you know your deal's going to go through. Number 2, Craig.
Number 2. What is it? Use a real estate agent, of course. Use a realtor.
Yeah. Folks, it's the biggest purchase you'll probably make in your life. Use a real estate professional. Don't go out of this on your own. And if you don't understand the difference between a transaction agent or a dual agent or a buyer's agent, please let us know. You need it. You're buying your first home. You're out there making it on. You need a buyer's agent. You need someone representing you. That's how you'll get your best deal.
And keep in mind, it's not costing you a bunch of extra money, if anything at all, to be represented as a buyer. Sometimes there are franchise fees and things that real estate companies will add in, $300, $400, $500 potentially. But for the most part, that buyer is representing you and going to get paid when they help you locate that perfect home. You're going to be way more successful having someone who knows the market. They can get you through the process. So don't skip the real estate agent if you're a buyer.
All right, here we go, folks. That music means it's time for another should you stay or should you go scenario. Remember, you email us questions at lifeasyouwantit.com. We very well may use your scenario on air. Tori in Irvine, California called in with this question. I have a rate of 4 7/8 on a 30-year mortgage with about 26 years left to pay. I owe $672,000, and I think my home will appraise for $900,000 or so. I plan to move in about 5 years. Is there an opportunity to save money? Refi or no refi? Craig, stay or go?
I'm going to say go, and I mean go for that refi. But at that rate, you're in a high balance, but you're in California, so that's an actually conforming loan balance in that state. You have plenty of equity in the home. You plan to move in 5 years. Here's the trick, Tori. Don't pay any fees. Don't pay any fees whatsoever. Or, if you have to pay a little bit of fees to get it done, do an adjustable rate mortgage. Now, if you know that's your plan and you've got the 5 years lined out and you're rock solid on that deal, a 5-year, or maybe for safety in case it doesn't work out exactly as planned, a 7-year ARM would be a great choice. You should be able to lower your rate way down, potentially 1.5 points lower or so, and save a bunch of money. So, check out some adjustable rate loan options. The rate will be fixed for 5, 7, 10 years. There's plenty of those options. Watch the fees really carefully because those are going to cut in if you've got a bunch of fees to save money. But Tori needs to check out some options to save money on that high balance mortgage.
All right, so let's jump back in. How to get that deal? It's a tight market. One, make sure you've got a pre-approval letter that's rock solid with a reputable mortgage bank that is known in the market you're looking to purchase a home. Number two, use a real estate agent. Make sure that they are someone that is going to help make sure present your offer in the fashion where it's all tidied up and neat, get it in on time, they're responsive, and they make sure your offer is an attractive one and dot the I's and cross the T's. Number three is put down earnest money. You got a house you really want? Well, the earnest money is refundable if they don't accept your offer. If you want to show you're a serious buyer, put a little bit more down. 1 to 2% is the standard, but don't come in a tight housing market going, I want to put $500 earnest money down on a $300,000 house, because if I'm selling you the house, you're not serious. If they're going to accept your contract, they want to see someone that's willing to put some change down, because again, you get the money back if the offer's not accepted or if the transaction doesn't close, and it doesn't close because the contract terms weren't met. That means basically, you didn't just go, oh, I changed my mind. It means earnest, good faith money. All right, number 4, Craig.
Sell yourself. And you know what? I used to think this was kind of funny when I first heard people talk about this when I was much younger and I was buying my first home or so. And now you find it to really be true. It does work. Don't just go in and make an offer, cross your fingers, and hope it works out. When you're in a competitive market like we're in right now, homes are moving quickly. Write a little story with your offer. Tell who you are. Tell a little story about your family, why you think it's the best home for you and your kids, etc. And, the things maybe that you like the most about the home and that you are looking forward to enjoying when you move into that home. People will appreciate that sentimental piece, and they're more likely to choose you as the buyer.
Yeah, you got the house you love, you want, drop by, put a note on the door. The seller, I'm telling you, if it's the house you want and you really want it, every little bit helps. Number 5, Craig.
Excuse me, you have to edit that.
Tour homes in person while Craig is there with the left lung.
You definitely need to.
Folks, make sure that you'd be amazed at how many times that we hear or see people that are actually making purchases. I should say we hear of it. They're purchasing a home, they maybe live in an urban market, they don't have time to get here, and they're buying a home sight unseen. I'm going to tell you folks, don't do that. We strongly recommend. Use the technology to narrow the field, but get in, tour the home in person, because even if your good friend that lives in the market goes through and, if they're not going to be living or investing that with you, you gotta take the time to go in and see the home in person. All right, folks? That's how we tell you to get the best deal on your house in this tight housing market. Craig, what else?
Or at least get it done.
Ready?
Well, we've got 10 things to banish.
Yeah,
from
you're
your
a
open
seller.
house.
Okay, so we're selling a house. Here are 10 things we're saying don't have these at your open house. Number 1, it's an obvious one. You don't want a junky looking exterior, poorly maintained exterior. You got peeled paint. You've got all kinds of, whether it's the shrubs are nasty. Doesn't just clean it up, make it look tidy, especially the front of the house. Number 2, Craig, this is something you're familiar with.
especially when I come visit you.
Yeah.
Odors. You know,
Odors.
seriously though, I have walked into homes before when I've been home shopping and been like, whoa, they must have a Great Dane or something. I don't
They
know.
must.
But you know, seriously, if sometimes pet odor, other types of odor, cooked food, if you fry a lot of food, you just got done making liver and onions or something, guys, come on.
Like, so you
Clean
eat
that
garlic apparently every morning for breakfast,
don't.
every day for, so it's another issue then. All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to share 8 more things you need to banish from your open house. Life is Yonin.
I'm surprised I held off that long without coughing, actually. All right, folks, we are back. Life as you own it. If you're just joining the show, I'm Craig Miller, and I was at one time joined by Mark McDougall. He has left the building. Just kidding. Mark's taking a slight break right now. All right, folks, we were talking before the break about the 10 things to banish from that open house. You want to get this house sold, these are the 10 things you need to eliminate, take care of, nip in the bud, etc., so you can get that house sold quickly and efficiently. So, talk about poorly maintained exterior. Obviously, somebody pulls up to a big oil-stained driveway. It looks like the Exxon Valdez or something. You want to clean that up, okay?
Was it the Valdez or the Valdez or the Valdez?
I don't.
I'm just
speak
curious.
the
Anyone know?
language, but I do know there was lots of oil there. Anyway, you don't want that. If there's ducks like swimming around in it, all covered in stuff, you know, in the oil
In the driveway.
and there's
Is
some
that right?
hazmat suit wearing people from OSHA. They're cleaning them off. It's just a bad deal. So clean the oil stains up. Peeling paint, shrubs, weeds. Just all the bad stuff, you know, all the little butt people that you have in your landscaping. Where are those butt people, by the way?
Butt people.
What's
I don't
up
know
with
that.
the
You
butt
guys are nodding
people?
yes. I don't know what the butt people are.
The little
elves?
things no, not the gnomes.
silhouettes
We don't want
bending
those.
over.
Look it up, Google it. But anyways,
I'll
folks,
find it.
just Google yard butt people, and you will laugh.
Really?
But people have these little
You know what? This
things.
show has really digressed.
Anyways, let's get back to it. So get rid of the stuff on the outside, the odors inside the home. If it's well,
Yeah.
don't speak for both of us.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then look at the interior of your home and get a good whiff. Invite one of your neighbors over that you're friends with and say, "Come smell my home and tell me what you think of that."
Right.
Maybe there's some odoriferous offenses going on in there.
Make it smell sweet.
Make it so
Sweet.
sweet. What's number 3, Mark?
All right, number 3, pets. Okay, folks. So you've got you're proud of your dog, but get them out of the house. One, the people that are looking at your house may not like pets. You don't want them to know you even have an animal. That's your goal. Get rid of the pet. Get rid of the pet. Take the pet with you during the
Put 'em
visit.
down.
Make
Put 'em
sure.
down.
I would recommend make sure it looks like.
Just put
There-
Rover down.
If
Fill
there
that
is
out.
no pet at the house, Rose is bringing up a picture. That's a no. You guys.
That's a butt people gnome. See, that's a
Okay.
combo pack.
All right.
That's a
folks.
combo.
Well,
We
you
just
know what?
Google it, listeners, because we want you to check it out.
Was it always? Is it always the gnomes?
These have been around
No,
forever. My
here.
cousin used to go around collecting people's butt people. He would steal butt people.
All
He had a
right.
garage
So
full of
for our
So there's like a
really okay, folks. I guess I've just been
You've
living
lived in
under
too
a
nice
rock.
of neighborhoods. That's your problem, Mark. You're
Apparently
rich.
so. Don't point at me like that.
Yeah.
I you know what? I maybe lived in a neighborhood where they didn't put butt people in the front yard.
That's exactly what's
Apparently,
happening.
and everyone drives by your
Like
collection.
pink flamingos.
All right, so okay, so pets, get rid of the pets. Make sure no one. I'd recommend eat. Doesn't matter if it's upstairs, if it's somewhere visible. Make sure slide their bowl under, hide it, clean it up. Make sure the smell's gone, and I strongly recommend make sure that they know that there's no pet that even ever lived in that house.
And if you've got a golden retriever running around the backyard making deposits all day long, get that picked up too before the kids go walking to check out the swing set or walk through and look at your garden and they're like, "Oh, I just stepped in something fantastic." So get rid of that
walk
too.
back through the house. Okay, so tacky, worn, or extreme decor. So
That's number 4.
what can be extreme decor? Well, it could be Craig. It could be your the marlin
What?
that you caught. That you've got maybe in the living room.
Yeah.
Billy
Or
Bass.
it could be
The leg
could
lamp.
be the
Maybe it's your leg lamp in front of the
Leg.
window.
the leg. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But folks, if you've got anything that is probably on the edge, whether it's sportsman's edge or whether it's just maybe a little risque, maybe a little avant-garde, whatever it is,
Darren says
just
a Billy
recommend-
Bass, the bass that talks, or
Yeah.
maybe it's the velvet painting of things that
You get
whale and dolphin.
you get the drift. All right, number 5 is prescription drugs. A couple reasons. One is they have been known to disappear.
Especially if
you
Mark
don't-
comes to your open house.
That's right. So you don't want and also, do you really want someone else knowing what prescription drugs you're on? Craig. We know by the color of the pill what prescription drugs you're on.
Pink.
Number 6, bills and other identifying personal documents. Folks, you don't, again, someone's coming through your house, there'll be a realtor there, but don't assume that they can't just grab something off of a counter. Get that stuff stored away someplace safe where someone can't grab your bank statements, can't grab any of your personal information and walk out with it. Number 7, Craig, what is it? This
Valuables or firearms.
Right.
You don't want that Glock sitting there on top of the refrigerator or on the counter or whatever when you exit the home. Secure your firearms in a safe. Secure your valuables in a safe. Put things away. You don't want them just laying out where someone could grab them. You definitely don't want a liability having a weapon, especially one with batteries in it. That means bullets in my terminology. Got batteries in it. That's what I always say when I'm handling a gun. I'm like, watch out, it's got the batteries in it. It means it'll work. Just make sure you secure this kind of stuff, guys. Avoid liability and, of course, theft.
All right, so if you've got anything that is potentially politically polarizing, so folks, if you've got your campaign poster from last year's election that either your candidate won or lost, doesn't matter, just take it off the wall.
Or if you have like a poster of a candidate who's currently in office or something with a bunch of graffiti all over it, or
right.
whatever.
Either way, just folks, hide that stuff. That if someone could walk in and go, ooh, I don't like that guy or that gal or whatever, and make that their first impression when they walk in, don't do it. All right, number 9, right along the lines of this, or what, Craig? Along the politically polarizing posters.
Just clutter, just all that kind of
Clutter.
You know where we see a lot of clutter, and people are like, ooh, okay, the garage. Maybe it's your basement. Maybe it's a kind of a spare bedroom that is kind of your catch-all room that you chuck stuff in there, and you only move it whenever Aunt Nellie's coming to spend the weekend or something. Make sure you clean up the clutter, organize, make things look nice.
That's one thing, and then you get it there, but you'd be amazed how many houses I've walked into. There's clutter in the kitchen, clutter in the living room, there's
dining room, tables stacked up with stuff.
Get rid of the stuff. So I agree.
Quarters.
Try to get most of those places taken, but first take care of the big ones. Get it. There should be as little stuff as possible in your house that's visible to someone walking through. Let them use their imagination what it's going to look like when they move in. Number 10, Craig, the last one.
And this is extremely important, Mark. I know that you have a hard time with this one. You remove yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be hanging out, sitting there on the couch watching the game or something, and they're walking through. Hey, how y'all doing? Can I get you something?
Let me tell you about
just
all
get
the
out
work I did on this house. So, folks, you need to be invisible from the house when they come through. Let them walk through. Let them get a feel for what it'd be like living in it. Don't be hanging out in your jockey shorts. Speaking of hanging out in your jockey shorts, we'll be back in just a few. Stay tuned. Life as you own it.
Wow. Those headphones do a number on me.
How so?
They're hot. They make my ears all
Make
hot.
your ears
They
hot?
make me feel like I
So-
have radioactive something going on, radio waves in my head.
Sing that song.
Radioactive radio waves in his head.
Radioactive.
Both of them.
Radioactive.
Video killed the radio star. And that's
It's
what we're
true.
doing. Video killed the everybody I know that watches the show, they watch the show now instead of listening to the show. I'm getting feedback. People are talking.
There's some fancy
Then you need to
videos
make sure
are
that
out
they
there.
say, I like this.
That's right. Or share it with their friends. That's even better than liking
Yeah.
it. Share it. What's wrong?
The music goes that way.
We are back, life as you own it.
Yeah.
Rocking out. We've got a little bit more time with you folks. Hang in there. We've got some
They don't
great
wanna hear
tips,
it.
6 tips for renting your first apartment. Now, maybe this isn't your first apartment. Maybe you're like one of our should you stay or should you go emailers or callers that was selling a home, already had it under contract, and does not have a replacement home picked out yet. You may need to temporarily rent. This still applies. There are right ways and wrong ways to go about setting up a rental home for you. So, we're going to share these 6 tips with you, whether it's your first, which is more likely the case for many of you, but it may be you're reverting back to renting for whatever reason. So
You got it. All right, folks. These considerations. Number 1, come up with a budget. Identify how much you can afford in the area you're looking to live, and come up with a number. whether it's $700, $800, $1,000. A rule of thumb, though, we recommend you get it just as cheap as you can. Live within your means. Live below your means is what we recommend. But say 30%. Don't get that housing expense. Rent or purchase, you get it above 30%, and then you're getting into the zone where you can't save, you can't do the things that you want to do that will position you best. So the rule of thumb always is we say 30% for your that total housing payment.
Absolutely.
And a part of that housing payment is you've got to budget for not only paying rent, but also what are the utilities going to be? What is parking? If you're in a market where you're going to have to either store your car or you've got off-street parking that you got to pay extra for, utilities, parking, all of those things, make sure you understand how those fit into that overall budget. All right, Craig, number 3.
Number 3, position yourself as a desirable tenant. Now, think about this. It's just like anything else. If you're applying for a job or whatever, especially if you're in a market where places are filling up quickly, you got to have your references. You got to have your checkbook ready to go when you start your search. So in case you're ready to make a deposit, you find the right place. You're like, I'll take it. Somebody right behind you 30 minutes later when you leave to go to the bank could say, I'll take it.
Yep.
So, people are especially when it comes to renting, it's an in and out business. People don't get attached to you and your personality. They need to fill the space. So make sure you're ready to go. Have your references ready if they ask for them. And of course, if you really want to make sure you've positioned yourself well, work on this now if you're a little ways out, but keep your credit clean. Make sure you pay all your utility bills and all those kind of things, because I've seen people have one late payment on their car insurance or their previous place they were renting, and that gets them denied the new place. So.
Yep. All right. Also, this applies to any real estate transaction. Make sure you understand the value of your neighborhood. Is the neighborhood you want to be in? Location, location, location. Folks, walk around. Is it a safe neighborhood, or is it just a really cool place that might be on the cusp that you don't feel comfortable walking at night? So get to know the neighborhood, just like any home purchase. Understand, are you going to want to be there? And, does it have the amenities nearby? Does it have, what's it like during the night? What's it like during the day? So become very familiar with the community that you're considering renting. Number 5, Craig.
Let's conduct a thorough walkthrough, folks. Let's really make sure you've checked the place out well. Lots of people will just get on Craigslist or some other type of rental guide online, find a place that sounds like the right deal for them. They fill out a deal
Walk
online.
in, sign the lease.
And you go. And you need to walk through and make sure, for a number of reasons, but one of them being look for any damage or things they might blame you for if you don't have it marked on a checklist ahead of time. And also make sure it's really going to work for you, because what sounds good or looks good in pictures, think about a hotel room that you stayed in. It's happened to me many times. I'm like, yeah, this place looks pretty nice. It's a good deal. I'll take it. You show up, it's a roach motel. So make sure you've got a chance to look at the place before you sign on the dotted line.
We recommend check the oven. Make sure the heating, cool. Make sure all the things work. The refrigerator, all that's the ice maker if you want it. Make sure it works. And if they agree to make some repairs, etc., just as along with a lease, get everything in writing, folks, and read your lease. So get it in writing and read it, understand it. Know that in some leases there may be provisions that would require you to give 60, 90, 120 days notice if you're going to vacate the premises. There may be some stringent penalties if you break the lease early. There's a lot of things. What's the responsibility if, say, there's damage to the exterior of the property or the building? Are you signing a lease that makes you responsible for it? Read the document. Make sure you understand it. All right, Craig. Should you stay or should you go? You ready, folks?
Out.
Remember, this is the opportunity for you to give us your scenario. We'll tell you whether it's something you should stick with or you should get the heck out of Dodge. And we've got Martin in Lenexa, Kansas emailed, I have 2 houses, a lake house and my primary home. My lake house is on an arm at 3 3/4, 3.75, with a balance of $142,000 and a value of about $300,000. My primary home has about $80,000 left at a rate of 4.75 and a value of about $350,000 or so. Hope you're all taking notes. Should I refinance both into one loan or set them up individually? I want to lower them down to 15-year loans. Thanks. Well, thank you, Martin, for sending in your question.
I'm going to go on this one, and that means to put them into just have one loan. Based on your equity position, Martin, with your $350,000 valued primary residence, only going 80, and then you've got the 142 on the lake house. You've got plenty of equity to do a cash-out refinance and put that together into one loan for about $220,000. So make sure that when you do this, your primary residence should be the place you borrow against. You're going to get your best rate there. The other thing that does for you is it gives you free and clear on the lake house. If you run into a situation where you need to liquidate or get in some equity, it's going to be much easier to do it with a paid off property. Just go ahead and not have to change around either both loans to get money or whatever. So you can do a 15-year loan on your primary residence, get both balances paid off into the one lowest rate possible. However, watch the fees, and lastly, consider that 15-year option before you sign on the dotted line. Do the math. Look at what your other investment opportunities may be. It may make more sense to do a 20, 25, or even 30-year loan and have a little more cash flow monthly to invest elsewhere.
All right, real quickly before we take the break, rattle them off. 10 best pets for tiny apartments, Craig. Go!
Greyhound, Bulldog, Yorkshire Terrier, Boston Terrier, French Bulldog, Pomeranian, your favorite one, Shih Tzu, Dachshund, British Shorthair, and a Persian.
All right, folks, we'll come back.
Cat.
More from Life as You Own It. We've got 5 costs you can cut for fast cash. Stay with us.
Okay, folks, bringing it up the rear. All right, we're wrapping the show up here, folks. This is the final segment, Life as You Own It. Hey, if you just turned on your radio and like, Life as You Own It, what's that? This is the place you need to be next week. Rewind your clock a little bit, about 50 minutes, and you'll be at the right place at the right time. And you can check us out, and make sure you go to lifeasyouownit.com to learn more. Remember to call 877-300-1536. Questions, whatever you have, comments, suggestions. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube,
Online,
iTunes,
iHeartRadio,
you
tune
name
in. You got it, folks. Lots of ways to catch the show, and as Craig hopefully mentioned, lifeasyouownit.com is the place to go. That's right.
That's
all right, Craig. We got a lot of information covered in the last 3.5 to
5
4
costs.
minutes.
Yeah, what are these 5 costs you can cut for fast cash?
Fast cash. Number 1, eat at home.
Yeah.
How much money could you save if you had a ham sandwich instead of a burger and fries at McDonald's?
I don't know. Because I don't.
Probably $4
$4
$4 a meal.
Yeah.
Also is go generic, and I used to be guilty of this. Also, does Skippy really taste that much better than the Kirkland's brand peanut butter?
Peter Pan.
Now, you know what though? I got it. Jif does taste the
Jif's
best.
good.
Jif's good.
I don't remember which one I like.
The
Peanut
Peanuttiest.
Pan or
I don't like
Jif.
Peter Pan. But anyway, so folks, we're digressing too much.
Oh,
Folks,
we like
get
Peter
the generic, whether it's ketchup, whatever it is. Understand that you are marketing, it'll get you every time. Don't fall for it.
Get you.
At number 3 is look for lower rates, whether it's your cell phone bill, your homeowner's insurance, your auto insurance, your mortgage, your credit cards. Position yourself. You'd be amazed at how this can add up very quickly to the cash in your pocket at the end of each month. Number 4, here's another one, Craig. What is it?
Number 4. Oops, I'm sorry. I
Cut
flipped it already.
cable.
Yeah, cut cable.
Do you really need can you live a couple months without, or can you live into perpetuity without HBO, without all your TV on the go, etc.? Can you cut that cable out and save yourself 30, 40, 50, 80, 90 bucks a month? And number 5, Craig, is what?
Stop spending. I mean, just the frivolous stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times you go through a department store or whatever, like a Walmart type deal or a Target or something like that. You're pushing your cart, you see little knick-knack thingies, you think you need it, you buy it, you don't even end up opening the thing when you get home. Be smart, make sure you have a list when you go shopping, stop spending money on frivolous extra things, cut back on all the little nonsense stuff that you just don't need.
Hey, and you can find this information at credit.com, so let's share that resource. Also, in the spending category, folks, I got a tip for you. Write down everything you spend. In the same way, if you want to improve your diet, write down everything you eat. Keep track of it. The first thing is acknowledging what you're doing. When you go to write it down, you're writing down, you're probably going to wait a minute. Do I really need this? And one other one is pay cash. Don't put it on credit, folks. It will slow down your spending, I guarantee, if you pay cash for it. Okay, real quickly, we talked about those some of the statistical data from the 2013 HUD and Census Bureau information about new home construction. Craig, how many of them had, how many homes in the United States? There were 518,000 that had this. What is it? 91% of them had this. What is it?
AC.
You're cheating. Also, one other, what's the average new single-family home, what's the average size? How many square feet?
The average is, you know what, I'm a little lost on this stuff.
I know, that's what I'm asking.
I'm
What
going
do
to
you
say it's 1,450.
just under 2,600
Wow,
square
I
feet.
way cut
Average
that
home,
under.
folks. Also, the average house, 10% of homes had 2 or fewer bedrooms, and 44% of them had 4 or more. Really, 4 or more bedrooms
Half,
in almost
almost half.
half of the homes. Is it necessary, or are we just building big because we think we can afford to? Hey, I want to give a shout out to one of our learned listeners in Kansas City, Missouri, checking us out on KMBZ. Hey, Michael, thanks for the great insight into the housing recovery. And next week, we're going to highlight your email and talk about what we think the housing recovery looks like and give you the props you deserve for being a savvy listener to the show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We hope that you have a fantastic week, and this has been another installment of Life as You Own It. Thanks again, folks, and remember to
Stay classy.